Hey, what is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to episode 70 of the X Button Gaming Channel. On this episode, I have a couple of special guests with me, both returning guests, and both I'm happy to have on again. We have a fun subject in store. First off, after about a year, we have back on here from the Bird Dog Gaming Channel, from the Collector's Perspective channel. It's part of your Bird Dog Gaming Channel, I guess, but we'll say it's its own channel. And the Unlockable podcast. Christian, Mr. Bird Dog Gaming himself, is here. How you doing, man?
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for being on here again. How are you doing?
I'm great. It is my favorite season of the year. I'm drinking a lot of freaking eggnog. It's getting cold out here in Texas. Life is good, man.
What's cold in Texas?
I was about to say.
It might be 55 out right now.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, it's like
I'm looking at
30 outside right now.
I'm looking at a solid 28.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. 55 is nice. So do you still wear shorts, or do you have to actually put on like a jacket?
No, I'm not wearing a jacket unless I really want to. Currently in shorts and a t-shirt inside the house, but yeah, I mean it's nice right now. Like I had the window down when I was driving home. It was just good weather.
Yeah, that 50 to 55 to like 70 is my perfect range for me personally. Yeah, that's weather down. I'm still in shorts that time of year, that weather though. I'm in shorts right now, but only because I'm going to Hawaii tomorrow, and I didn't want to have to pack jeans, so I'm just not. I'm just not going to wear them.
Living it up.
Yeah. All right, and as you may have already heard him talk here, we have another guest back after only 2 episodes. We have the Game Collecting Reaper from the Generations Behind podcast and the Game Collecting Reaper YouTube channel. Mr. Tyler is back here again. Thanks for coming back, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a great time. Looking forward to it. I just want to say, with the 28 degrees here in Pennsylvania, I woke up this morning. There was a little bit of snow on the ground, you know.
Oh, really?
I don't know if Christian gets that over there, but, you know, a little bit of snow. And I am one of those guys that I still wear shorts in this weather. You know, you see like, oh, there's always that one guy walking in short. Yep, that's me. Just saying. I own like 1 pair of pants, no 2. But
yeah, I have to wear jeans or at least some kind of pant to work, or else I would probably wear shorts most of the time because I prefer to have the bottom half of my legs hanging free.
yeah, man.
Unsheath those babies. No, but I appreciate both of you guys coming on here again. I'm thinking now, so Pennsylvania, Tyler, when I was in 5th grade, we had a project where all of us had to pick a state that we had to do research on and, you know, talk about. I think most schools do something like that in elementary school. And mine was Pennsylvania. And I remember almost none of it other than the Hershey chocolate factory somewhere in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's like an hour for me.
Oh,
hour
is
and
it?
a half.
Have you ever been there?
Yeah, been there a couple times. They got that like chocolate tour thing. You like sit in this little ride, shows you how the chocolate's made and all that, and you got one of those little Hershey bars at the end.
That's cool. Is it like Willy Wonka?
Yeah, I mean it's like singing cows and stuff.
Oh,
like
the cows are actually singing.
Yeah, they're like little animatronic things, but there's like singing cows and stuff like that. And
huh?
Yeah.
It actually sounds a lot more. A lot cooler than I expected. I don't live in Oregon, but I've been to the Tillamook cheese factory down there, and they have a tour there, and it's super lame. And then they just at the end they're like, "Here's a piece of cheese," and they just give you like a little cube of cheese on a stick, on a not a stick, toothpick. But it'd be funny if it was just on a stick.
It's like getting a little sample at Costco or something.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Yeah, I don't know, a little off topic there, but I guess I don't think of Pennsylvania all that often, but. That sounds rude, but
I don't know. We got Liberty Bell. Apparently, we're known for our cheesesteaks in Philadelphia, but I think the Philadelphia cheesesteaks are overrated. Gotta go to those mom and pop shops. Just saying, hot take. I don't know if you ever had them or not, but
I love a good cheesesteak, but I don't know that there's a place not too far from me that makes really good ones, but I don't know. I also did a Liberty Bell sculpture in that class project that I had. Yeah, I did it, and I did it bad, so then my mom redid it. That was basically what I did in school. If I did something bad enough, my mom would just do it. So, yeah. Anyway, enough about that. So we're on here today and we're going to be talking about subset collecting as our main topic. But before we do that, we're going to talk about some of our recent video game pickups because this is a collector's edition style episode. So why don't we start with Tyler and have him talk about some of his recent pickups?
All right, starting off with some of my pickups. This one, Chris, have you ever heard of this one? It is called Xenon Racer for the PS4.
Yes. Is it a Sodesco game?
Yeah, there we go.
That's the only reason I've heard of it.
He knows. Dude, I never heard of it, and I just seen Sodesco, and I was like, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Because Sodesco titles hard to come by sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Then, Black Friday weekend was, week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever. So, got a lot of pickups. I told myself I was going to stop buying things, but of course that never happens. I keep buying things. So, I went to this one store. Went to this one store. They had buy two get one free on like their whole store. Like that included systems and everything except Pokemon. They had Pokemon was the exclusion. You can get a PS5, but you can't get Pokemon.
I've been to a couple game stores that do that. It's discounts on everything except for Pokemon.
Yeah. So I mean, I get it. It's probably one of their biggest sellers, and it's hard to get in. So, kept a little. Just got like $20 items. Got Arc of Alchemist on PS4. It's an Idea Factory game.
I've never heard of that before. I'm sure there's a lot of PS4 games I haven't, but it looks cool.
Yeah. So pick that up. I got this one that I've seen before. I have no clue what it is. It looks like a fighting action party game. I don't know. Bazooka. Got me some Bazooka.
Gotta love a good Bazooka.
Well, And then also Edge of Eternity on PS5 because I didn't know what to get for $20. That'd be my free item, so I got that as my free item.
Yeah.
Anything published by GS2 is probably not the move.
Probably not. But apparently this was like a GameStop exclusive at first, and then I don't know if it eventually went to other places, but
it's a cool cover.
It is. And then Walmart was the only one that had a Black Friday sale on this. It was $30. It sold out instantly. So I went on Target customer support, and I was like, "Hey, could you guys price match this for me?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, put it in your cart and we'll do it." So I got this for $30. Hey, Silent Hill 2 remake on PS5.
Yeah, that was a stellar deal for that.
It was. So I was like, you know what? $30? I'll do it all day. Then I got the PS4 version of Sonic X Shadow Generations, and because of that one going up, because of it being like a limited run only to get the PS4 version, I don't want to open it. So I picked up a PS5 copy because I want to play it.
Yeah. And that was on sale too, right?
Yeah, that was I think it was $30 as well. So, not bad, $20 off the original.
No, not bad at all.
No clue why I got this from Walmart. Dead Island 2. I don't know. It was just a PS Plus free game. It was $15. I forgot it was a Plus game, but now I have a physical for it. So,
yeah. Didn't you already play that?
Dead Island 2, no. I played the first one.
I never played the first one either. Was it those games were... That was a PS3 game, right? PS3 360?
Yeah.
I remember it being pretty popular back then.
Yeah, I remember, especially the first one, it was pretty popular. Riptide came out, I think I got some mixed reviews, and then this one was in development hell for forever.
Yeah, I mean that's a long time between releases.
And then for $25, one of the best pickups at Black Friday, the Patrick Star game.
Ayo.
It's like an open sandbox scope simulator type game. I beat this in one sitting. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, I
streamed the whole thing. Well, not the whole thing.
My PlayStation notified me that you were playing it, and then it notified me much longer that you got the platinum trophy on it. I was like, "Oh, that was quick."
Yeah, I got that thing. And then one last one I'll show before I let you guys go. Got Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance on the PS5. That was $25. Figured why not. Bought the original on Switch for full price for the collector's edition because I was like, man, I really want to play this, and never ended up playing it. And then they do it. Full version, so I was like, okay, I'll buy that too.
Yeah.
So,
well, maybe you're more likely to play it now that you can play it on PlayStation and get them beautiful trophies.
This is true. As we spoke before, I do love them trophies.
Yeah. Is that a steelbook?
It is.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Got that.
I'm a sucker for a good steelbook. I've been known to
that
buy a game I did not need or two just because I like the steelbook.
Yeah, speaking of steelbooks, I want the Patrick Star steelbook. I think that's really cool.
Oh yeah, that one is cool.
I was gonna get that one, but it's only on the Switch.
It's only on the Switch. The steelbook is.
Yeah, the steelbook version's only on the Switch.
I did not know that. That would be kind of a cool set to collect, Switch Steelbooks. I feel like there can't be that many of them, not in comparison to obviously the DVD or Blu-ray style Steelbooks.
You would have to exclude limited run, I imagine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were doing a steelbook with like every game.
Yeah, they seem to have finally slowed down on that a little bit, and they're always kind of lame too, the limited run ones. Like I love steelbooks, but when it's just like a gold steelbook with a picture, like one picture on it, it feels pretty low effort. Though a lot of limited run stuff is pretty low effort.
I was one of those madmen that originally I was like, I'm gonna go for a complete limited run Switch set. Yeah, I quit that real quick.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I got Thimbleweed Park and was like, oh man, I'm gonna go. And then I got the next two games, which were Mercenary Kings and something else. And
Flint Hook.
Flint Hook, yeah. And then I think the fourth one was Pixel Junk Monsters or something. And then I was like, okay, I can't keep up with it. Already, I can't keep up with this.
Yeah, and then it was like Slime Sand and Golf Story, and that's where I stopped.
Yeah, I didn't even make it that far. Golf Story would have been a good one, though, because that's a fun game.
Yeah.
All right, Christian, what are some of your recent pickups?
I'll show off a few GameCube titles I got. I am going for the GameCube set. You might have heard that a year ago when I was on the podcast. I recently got Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee. I used to say Melee. I'm no longer a chump. I say Melee.
He's grown up. He's part of the adults now. I've heard that's a fun game.
Yeah, Craig's a big fan of Godzilla in general, and he's like, yeah, dude, that's the best game that's ever been made by anyone ever. Yeah, he loves that game. I've never seen Avatar. Are you guys Avatar fans?
Never seen it. It's so good.
I've actually just started watching it for the first time ever. I've never seen it either. So I'm like 10 episodes in or so.
It's definitely good.
I guess for the audio listeners, I got Avatar: The Last Airbender on the GameCube. I'm probably gonna watch it with my roommate. He's a big fan. Like I've seen bits and pieces when I was a kid. You know, it would come on Nickelodeon, but I've never sat down and watched the whole show. And then Go-Go Hyper Grind, one of the top fives. One of the top fives on the GameCube sets. Craig has told me that this game is garbage. I was playing it for a good 30 minutes to test it out and make sure I get my money's worth, you know. And it seems cool. Like it's like Walmart brand Tony Hawk. You know, it's not bad.
That's what I've always heard. I would, if I bought it, I would play it. First off, if I spent the money on it, I would play it. But just because it's got that Tony Hawk vibe to it, I'd give it a go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was actually pretty enjoyable. That there's different characters you can pick that have different stats, just like Tony Hawk.
What I didn't soundtrack like Tony Hawk is the real question.
Probably not.
What'd you say? Oh, the soundtrack, no. It has like the people that did Ren and Stimpy worked on this game. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And it's like mentioned on the back of the box.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what does that put you at for the GameCube set?
Oh, that's right. I was going to mention that. We need 39 games to go. That was Go-Go Hyper Grind or Godzilla was number 515.
Dang, man, you're really getting there. So I asked you this outside of the podcast, but just for the podcast, I'm going to ask you again. How many games do you have left that are actually pricier still?
That was the last like heavy hitter. There's a few more. I'm going to say maybe 5, 6, 8, maybe 8 more games that are like $100 to $200 in that. Like I'm gonna say low $100 range. We've got like Zoids is like 100 plus. We've got Tyler. You can feel free to help me out if you know of any.
Ultimate Muscle, right?
Ultimate Muscle's up there.
Muscle.
Def Jam. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is kind of pricey like that.
You still need Evolution Snowboarding?
Yes, don't even talk about that one on here. No one needs to go look at that price on that one.
I mean, Evolution Skateboarding. Shoot that one up to the moon, boys.
You said Def Jam. You're right about that one, yeah.
Those are at least fun games, both Vendetta and Fight for New York.
Is it wrestling or what is it?
Yeah, it's wrestling.
Okay.
Well, it's like, fighting, wrestling mix, all hip hop. The first I only ever played Fight for New York once, and everybody says it's the better game. I played a decent amount of Vendetta back in the day because I was always really into hip hop. So I was just thought I thought it was really cool, but my parents were not into hip hop or that game. But
Somebody got to do a mod of Def Jam, put like the Parappa soundtrack in there.
that would be
So that
fun.
would go very well.
Add Parappa to the game.
You gotta believe.
Him versus DMX. I want to see it. Two dogs in the ring.
Why is New York so much more expensive? Does anyone know?
I think it's just that everybody says it's just that much better.
No.
So it might have a better soundtrack. It's weird to me that Vendetta was even ever a teen rated game because it's all engrossed in the hip hop world. So it was teen, they didn't get too crazy with the storyline or with the language or anything. I assume Fight for New York probably went a little heavier into the hip hop culture, and yeah, that probably made it a little bit less tame too, which, I mean, people enjoy that. So
What about you, Chris? What are some of your pickups?
So we just had Black Friday, and I picked up a couple of things. I got a few games off of Best Buy from their sale. I picked up finally Persona 3 Reload, which
Just finished that last night.
I've heard great things, from Craig raving about the game on his podcast and everything. And I have played Persona 3. I played FES on PS2 way back when, and I played the portable version, though I never finished that one. And it's a great game, so I'm excited to give it a go again. It's been a long time because I played the PSP one when it came out, which would have been probably 2010-ish. And I haven't taken the sticker off of this. Well, I just need to open both of them. But I also got Alan Wake 2, but you can't really tell because there's a sticker on it.
You were hyped for that.
Yeah, I only played Alan Wake 1 for the first time probably 2020-ish, whenever the remaster came out. But I'd played Control a few years before that, and I loved Control and didn't realize it was part of that same universe. And I'd always wanted to play Alan Wake, but I never had a 360. So when it got that remake, I played it, and I loved it. It has just enough creepiness and just a really good game. So I'm really excited for that. And then I went to a local game store that was doing a 20% off everything in store. They didn't have the stipulation on Pokemon, but they also didn't have any Pokemon games, so it's probably easy to not have it. But I've recently bought quite like 3 or 4 lots off of OfferUp, with just a bunch of games where I only wanted a couple of them that easily paid for the lot, and then everything else was kind of cheaper stuff that I was just sitting here because I didn't want to keep it and didn't really feel like selling it. So I took it all there and got way more than I expected for it. So that was nice. But I used the store credit to get a couple of games that I'd wanted for a while. This is one I've wanted for a really long time, and I've never played it. I don't know why it took me so dang long to get it. But it's Contact for the DS.
Okay.
It definitely has like an Earthbound vibe to the art style, which is why I always wanted to play it. But I never did. Genuinely, I don't even know much about what the gameplay is like, but just the art style alone has always made me want to play it. So I'm excited to finally have it. I'm taking it with me on my vacation, and if I have time, I'm going to play it. I've
never heard of that game in my life.
Contact?
Never heard of it.
It's an Atlas title. It's pretty uncommon, I'd say. Like, I don't know. I don't see it very often because I've always been waiting for a decent price copy to come up. And that's priced fairly, but with the 20% off and the store credit, it was like, okay, I'm finally buying this game. I'll have to let you know what I think of it when I actually play it. And this is another DS title that I've wanted for a while because I've always heard it's really fun. And that's Henry Hatsworth, A Puzzling Adventure. Why am I having so much trouble working around the mic here?
Shout out to that headset.
Yeah. It's an EA game, but it's like a puzzle block just match 3 game on the bottom half of the screen, and the top half is a platformer. So it's I love like unique gameplay mechanics, and like I don't know too many platformers that are also a match 3 game at the same time. And I've always wanted to play it. My friend Alex played it, probably back when it came out, and he loved it, and I don't know. Wanted to play it for a long time, so I'm happy to have it. And the last one, this one was very impulsive. It was right next to Contact, and when they were grabbing it from the case, I was just like, I'll get that too. And it's Driver for the Game Boy Color. Complete in box. I had this game when I was a kid. and it's actually pretty fun. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever played Driver on PS1, but the whole
Is it like
premise
GTA?
it was not so much. I mean, it was and it wasn't, because you're driving around the city and you're obviously kind of a criminal, and you can like run into other cars and stuff, but you couldn't get out and shoot people, and you couldn't hire hookers or anything. None of the fun stuff, just the driving. But the Game Boy one is just like a watered down, like any Game Boy port of a console game was. It's an over the top game where you just navigate the city, and you're basically like, you ever watch The Transporter? With Jason Statham. Okay, you're just a wheelman. You pick people up, move them from one location to the next, avoid the cops. But I was a big fan of the Driver games on PS1. So like I remember really liking this game as a kid, and I don't know what happened to it. So for $30, well, more like 20 with discounts and stuff, I was pretty happy to add it to the collection.
Nice.
So Tyler, why don't we go back to you with some more of your pickups?
All right, so 2 things here, but the pretty big things. So I'm gonna start off with this. Just today, right before recording this, came up. Got the 30th anniversary PlayStation 5 controller, DualSense. Not the Edge one. I wanted the Edge one, but that thing was a lottery system, and it was terrible.
Yeah,
I was like 2+ hours of waiting, and I was definitely not getting it.
Same, but I'll just save everybody the time and say I was going to show that off too.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
I got one as well. I also wanted to try to get the Edge controller and was unsuccessful.
Yeah. My friend just got the Portal. That thing looks nice.
Yeah, my buddy got a Portal as well. It is very clean looking.
Now, moving along with the PS1 theme, we're going to show this bad boy off. This actually helped me complete a subset, and that is the Land Before Time racing games on the PS1. I got the Land Before Time Great Valley Racing Adventure, which I never knew existed. Yeah, it was some kind of discount on it. I don't remember what. It says $6.99. I probably spent $6.98 more than I should have. But yeah, funny thing about this one, my buddy Jonathan was over. We were watching the latest wrestling pay-per-view with some friends. They left, and then he stayed, and we were like, let's just play some random PS1 games, because we mainly wanted to try this one out. Yeah, this game was pretty solid, like 2 out of 10. Not that great.
Dang, that's
4
too
characters. Bad. You got to hold up to like go forward.
Only 4 characters. Is it Littlefoot, Sarah, Ducky, and Spike? Are those the 4?
Yeah.
So of course Petrie's not one. He can't drive. Get out of here with that.
But yeah, it was a game. I'll say that. Don't recommend. I'm glad I completed the subset. So yeah,
it's a shame because of my nostalgia. I loved the Littlefoot, the Land Before Time when I was a kid, especially the first 2. The first movie's sad as heck though, man. But I would, if I saw that cheap, and I probably still would actually, but if I saw it cheap, I'd probably buy it just because I'd want to try it out. But it's too bad.
Oh, dude, you gotta try it at least once.
Yeah, just to say I did.
Find it in a dollar bin or something.
And is it a kart racer, or are they like running?
No, they're running.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense than them being in like some kind of cart.
We also, one of the ones we played, it was like going a little bit off topic, but we played the Nicktoons racing game on PS1. Man, that game was a lot better as a kid. But then now I was like, wow, this is rough.
Yeah. Oh man.
We're like, let's try to unlock Plankton, because he's like the mystery rider. You got to beat all 3 cups, and we got slapped on easy. Like, I don't know, it was bad.
Yeah, that's rough. Some of those like wannabe Mario Kart games were just not good. I remember really liking Chocobo Racing as a kid. But
I never played that one.
I haven't played it as an adult, and everything I read, everybody like dogs on that game and says it's trash. So I'm like,
go back to it then.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe I should just stay with my memories.
Memories pure.
Yeah.
Why don't go back
we've been playing a lot of. My roommate is like my best friend. He and I have been friends for a long time, and we've been playing a lot of stuff that he grew up with. Because I'm a collector and I have a house full of crap that he just happened to have grown up with, right? So we played like Toy Story 2 on the N64. He's like, yeah, dude, I swear this game's amazing. It's trash. We played through the whole game. It's not good. We played like iNinja on the GameCube. It's not good. And then when Tyler was in town, I told Tyler to bring Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, because my roommate has been obsessed. He's been like, dude, please buy this game. Like, if you ever see it, you have to buy it. It's so good. We beat it, but it was not good. It was a garbage video game.
It was like trying to be Crash Bandicoot, but like not good at all.
Yeah, sometimes
I was
those
like,
childhood
man.
memories do not hold up correctly.
And then after we beat it, we watched the movie though.
Yes, we
I
did.
mean,
I've
he
never
was
seen
up
it.
for half of it, but
I haven't seen a lot of those Scooby Doo movies, but I remember that Cyber Chase one was a huge deal when it came out. All the marketing and because they had a whole line of games for it and whatever.
yeah. I wonder how the GBA version compares.
Got to be better.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Next Bird Dog stream.
Let's go. All right, was that it for your pickups, Tyler?
Yes, sir. That is all I got.
All right, Tyler, let's go. Or Tyler, Christian, let's go on with the rest of your pickups.
Shout out to a man named Funtime Wallace in my Discord. He sent a link and was like, "Hey, someone should buy this." And it was 4 3DS games for $35 free shipping. And I offered them $30 and they accepted it. I should have taken it for $35 because it was already a great deal. But I'll
Hey,
save the best
you
for
got
last.
greedy and it worked.
We got Skylanders Giants.
Ooh. Thought you
He got
said you're
Snoop-
saving the best for last.
Snoopy's Grand Adventure. Freaking Moshi Monsters.
Oh, let's go.
And then the game that was
Here we
worth
go.
more than the entire lot itself was Yokai Watch 2, Bony Spirits.
Yeah, that's a good pickup.
This game, I checked before recording, it's like almost $40.
Does it have that coin? Even if it doesn't, it's still worth like $40. But
Exclusive metal include. Wow, Tyler. I guess I'm throwing this in the trash.
oh, I just ruined it.
Does it,
It's hard to find that thing in it, but
it has a minion
Luckily-
you got
sticker.
minions. Dude, that's a
Luckily, it came
variant.
with Minion stickers.
Completed that subset.
Time to ask Game Collecting Reddit if that's a real variant.
Guys, just
Um,
broke the seal on this game, and it has a minion sticker.
That was cool. And then just the most recent pickup for me, I got a $5 copy of Pokken Tournament on Wii U. $5 shipped on eBay.
That's a
I
fun
think
game.
I think I was the only bidder. No one
Dang.
wanted it at $5.
Hey, even with being like a later print, it's still pretty good. That game's
Yes,
fun.
this is the Mewtwo amiibo card variant, or not variant, like first print is it's pricey with the card.
Mhm.
People want that. I want that, but I
Mhm.
settled for the trash copy.
The Switch
Got the
version.
game on launch day.
Yeah, it's a fun game, but the Switch version is better because it has Krogunk in it. So,
Ooh.
Rogan.
Yeah. and I think Chandelure was in the Switch version. I don't think he's in the. Was he in the Wii U version as well?
I don't think so.
He is.
Okay.
Up, okay,
So
I'm
it
wrong.
might just be Krogunk then. I thought there was 2 characters they added, but I'm a big Krogunk fan, so. All right, so I'll finish up with a few of my recent pickups. So I've been working on. I still haven't committed to the idea of going for a full Vita set, but I continue to
He's
buy
getting
Vita
it.
games, so there is a chance that I'm going to do it. And I have a save search on everywhere for Vita stuff, and I'll just constantly look at Macari and eBay. And somebody listed these 2. Okay, this is where I will sound like a fool because I'm not even super familiar with either of these series or if they are series. So one is Hyper Devotion Noir Goddess Black Heart. I don't know the first thing about what this game is, but
It's some Neptunia game. I couldn't tell you though.
yeah, I don't know if it's an RPG, if it's a.
I
This is the problem with
it
set
is.
collecting. I did no research. I saw it was a good deal, and I bought these 2 games because I was like, "That's a pretty good deal. Maybe I'll play them eventually." And this other one is Mega Tag Mention Blanc versus Zombies Neptune. It's a name. This is a definite name for a game. But
it's a strategy RPG.
okay. I mean, I like strategy RPGs. Long story short, these were listed for like $45 for the both of them. And I offered like, I don't know. I just went in. It was like, I'll offer them like 37, and they accepted it right away. So I was like, it ended up being like 45 shipped with all the fees and stuff. And these games are worth like double that together. Like I think so. I was like, I got a deal. So I'm adding to the Vita collection. So I think that put me up to like 60 Vita games now.
That's like what 40. That's a large chunk of the set right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got like a little over a quarter of it done, dude.
yeah, I've pushed a lot of it done. A handful of those are the limited run ones, so it's not. I don't know what the actual like retail set number is, but these two are both interesting ones because they're both games that I actually had the case and manual for. So it's Metroid Prime Hunters and Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky.
You gotta play that one. I always heard that one's like the best one, but
That's what I hear too. Prime Hunters I got in a lot with a bunch of DS games and stuff, and that was the whole reason I bought the lot. Though I got Kirby Squeak Squad and a couple other games that I kept out of it. So I'm excited to finally finish this because I definitely want to play it because I'm a big Metroid fan. It's kind of pathetic that I never played this game when it came out. I did play the first Hunt demo a lot though. And then yeah, Explorers of Sky. This was I already had the case and everything because I saved it from the trash when I worked at GameStop. And then yeah, I didn't realize until a few years ago this game skyrocketed in value. So I found a copy of just the cartridge at a GameStop in Oregon when I was there. And there's no tax in Oregon, so it was like $60. And then I had, I think I had my $5 coupon for the month, and I long story short, I got it for like $40. So I felt pretty good about that. And I didn't pay for the case when I had it, so ended up getting the game for a total of like, yeah, $40, and it's like a $160 game. So
oh my gosh,
yeah, I'm happy to have it complete. I don't know when I'll get to it. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of that mystery dungeon style gameplay, but I feel like I should play it because everybody says that game is great. Then a couple of like new game pickups, I guess. I finally got Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Not much to say about that. I haven't played it yet, but I intend to probably play that next on my Switch. And this was an interesting one. I'm curious how much you guys know about this, but I also picked up Jedi Survivor for the PS4. I recorded a video on this today that I'm not 100% positive I'll even post on YouTube or not. But I don't know if you guys know this, but Jedi Survivor came out on PS5 and Xbox Series X like a year and a half, almost more than a year and a half ago, PC as well. And the version there was only like one small portion of the first mission was on the disc and everything else was download. I never bought it because of that. I still do GameFly like a weirdo, and I rented it from GameFly because I wanted to play it day one.
Indiana Jones?
Right. But yeah, then just this last couple months, they released a physical copy of a year and a half old game on PS4 and Xbox One. And it's 2 disc because it's got all of the game on one disc, and the play disc is the other disc, much like Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I don't know. It was just weird, and because of that, I'm like, the collector in me, who's also a Star Wars collector, had to have it because it's so niche. But the fact that they even bothered putting the game out on PS4 and Xbox One complete on disc, even if it's still kind of buggy, was I was like, I don't know, I just have to buy it. It was just like I just couldn't help myself. I don't know.
That might be like the first time in history that a game came out on a previous gen console 18 months after.
Yeah.
Like that's like really cool, honestly.
And out of all the developers too, or publishers, it was Electronic Arts. Like just massively shocked. Like it did not make any sense that it came out. And the fact that it's complete on disc too. All right, just a few more pickups. These I got the same day randomly on a work trip. I went to a game store and then just like an antique store, and I bought both of them out of pure nostalgia because I had them both when I was a kid. The first one is a complete box copy of X-Men Mutant Academy. This game was not good. I even knew it as a kid it was not good, but I absolutely loved X-Men. This was right after the movie came out, and I was obsessed. I was in love with Storm. Like anything I could play with X-Men, I played it, and I remember it being super easy and beating it in one sitting, but it was $20, so it felt like a good deal, and I bought it anyway, and I'll play it at some point. And this other one was $5, and it's one of the few sports games I remember really liking when I was a kid, and that's 3D baseball. I'm not a sports guy. I'm probably not going to play this anytime soon, but I don't know. Nostalgia went out, and I paid $5 for it.
Hey, why not, man?
And then my last game pickup was off of Macari again. It was $10 plus shipping, and it was Mickey's Racing Adventure for the Game Boy Color. Complete in box, and I bought it strictly because I was like, that's some cool box art. And it's published, and it was made by Rare, so but I don't know if this is any good, but it looks pretty cool.
I never
Probably
even seen
better
that till now.
What was that?
I never even seen that till now.
Yeah,
It's probably better than Land Before Time on PS1.
Guarantee it. 100%.
I'll have to play both, and then I'll get back to you guys. And my last pickup that I wanted to share was another lot that I bought. Somebody had a Switch Lite and a PSP Go on OfferUp, and they wanted $60 for the PSP Go. And I said, I'll take the PSP Go for $60. That's a good deal. And he said, how about you take both for $100? And I was like, I mean, okay, yeah, I'll take a Switch Lite for $40.
Dang.
And I mean, I didn't have to barter with this guy. He just made that offer, and I was like, all right. So I went and bought it, and they both worked perfectly fine. I just flipped the Switch for a Switch Lite for $100 and paid for the lot. So now I have a PSP Go. I wasn't even sure if I would keep this for sure, but I was like, I've never even held one before, so I picked it up, and honestly, I kind of like it. It has some games preloaded already on it from the guy who owned it. But it's very small and compact, and I think I'm gonna mod it and put do the memory mod and get a bigger memory card in here, and then just load it up with PSP games and UMD movies because I have a lot of them and I feel like I should put them to use. So I've been researching how to do all that.
Remember, I had a PSP Go as a kid, and the one time I went to use it, and I flicked it up, and it just flew right off the whole top half. And there went my PSP Go, and that was the last time I had a PSP Go. My PSP Go, it gone. It gone.
You said the first time you went to use it?
No, not the first time I went to use it. That was the first. I don't know what I was saying, but that was the last time I had a PSP Go.
Dang, man, that's still crazy.
PSP Go to PSP gone, just like that.
Dude,
I literally went to play it the one day, and I was just like, "Whoop!"
You might actually have like super strength or something. Like,
man,
just pop the sucker right off. Oh man.
Does that thing have a analog stick like the regular PSP?
Yeah, I'll try to show it on the screen. So when you flip up the screen,
careful.
Yeah, it has. You can see right above my thumb. There's a little nub there. Yeah, I mean it's not the most comfortable thing to hold. The triggers are back there, but it's also not. You can only play certain things on this. Anything with I would say like fast reaction time is going to be really hard to play on this. But for slower pace,
Sonic Rivals on that thing.
Did you?
Yeah.
I mean, I would think RPGs would be great on this. Like,
oh, probably.
So, I don't know. It's kind of novelty, but I feel like modding it will put it to good use. And I don't know, I'm just a sucker for things I don't need.
My PSP Go didn't live long enough for an RPG anyway, so
yeah, just flip that screen right off. Remind me not to let Tyler play with my Game Boy Advance SP. Just pop it open, screen just goes flying.
Just open it, woo! Oh,
dang it!
With the original DS, I'll just break the hinges.
That's super strength,
but then you
bro.
can make it. You can make him do a Game Boy Macro, so you'll be fine. Whatever they call that.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. It's cool that people figured out a way to repurpose it once the top screen's broken.
Yeah,
and it's a smart use of it. So. All right, well, let's move into the main topic. So like we mentioned at the outset, when Christian was on before, we talked about full set collecting for different consoles. And today what we're going to talk about is subset collecting, which covers a much wider range of things. So do one of you guys want to explain to the audience what subset collecting consists of?
Give it to you, Christian. I feel like you'll be able to do it a lot better than I would.
I guess you're pointing to me. Chris is in the middle on my screen.
Oh, he's in the middle of mine. So like, I could just be like, that guy over there.
The guy that's not me.
It pretty much just boils down to creating a checklist for yourself within your own confines, because there's no like, I'm going to go on Google and look at all the video game subsets that are out there. These are like made by collectors. They're just, I think that Pokemon has trained us to really love checking boxes, collecting all the Pokemon in your Pokédex is essentially what that is.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, I love checking boxes on a list. That's why I'm going for the whole GameCube set, I guess. And that's what this is. You're creating a checklist of something that could be across multiple different consoles, could be across multiple different regions. Um, I'm trying not to give examples, just trying to give like a real definition here, but you're making a list for yourself of things to collect. Just like that's pretty much what it is. And you're saying all these games go together because I say they do.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit more vague than just set collecting. That's when you're like we talked about GameCube collecting for a GameCube set. You just know these are the games in the set. This is what I'm going for. But yeah, like Christian was saying, it can definitely be a lot more open ended because you could say, all right, I want to do a subset for the PS4, and I'm going to go for all the first person shooters, and well, that I couldn't even begin to tell you what all those are. I'm sure
That's
there's
probably a lot.
yeah, an absolute ton, but that's a subset that you decided you wanted to go, and it's a subset within the console. So, and you mentioned Pokemon 2, and that's probably the most well known, most popular subset that people go for is collecting all the different Pokemon games. You know, a lot of people go for just all the handheld ones or all the games in general, like across handheld and consoles. But if you were to collect all Pokemon stuff, period, that would be a task. There's a lot of Pokemon stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can definitely have wide ranges of what you consider, and it's a lot harder for somebody to say. Like with console set collecting, there are sometimes like Pokemon Box is an example of a game where some people will try to say it's not part of the set because it's not actually a game, it didn't have a retail release, yada yada. But the majority say it is a part of the actual full set. With subset collecting, you can't even really have those arguments because you kind of set the confines of what it even is that you're going for.
Yeah.
I know, like, it's such a wide variety because you could say anything is like we said, we could say anything is a subset. Like one of the things I do collect is Dragon Ball content, especially video games, and I am kind of sort of slowly going for just like any Dragon Ball thing. I have a couple of the Japanese releases, like, and that to me is just like it's the full Dragon Ball set. I kind of just want all the Dragon Ball games because I love Dragon Ball. And another one, like I want to do it with Attack on Titan games as well. That's a lot easier set to do because there's not nearly as many of them. But there were some Japanese exclusive games, and you know those are for those sets. That's kind of where I'm at. But then for other things like Pokemon, like I don't hardcore collect the whole subset. But like with Explorers of Sky that I showed off earlier, like if I find the right price and it's Pokemon, I'll buy it probably because I'll probably eventually want to play it anyway. But I am not going for regional variants. I'm just going for what I find at the right price and maybe some other oddities here and there. But it's pretty strictly just the main series of games and I guess the main offshoot games like Pokemon Snap or the Mystery Dungeon or Ranger games. But
so you have a co-host, I think it's Jimmy, that goes for the games that are he goes for all the Seattle team-based cover arts on video games. Is that him?
Yeah, that's him.
So that is something I've like never even thought about as a subset, but that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of overlap between video game players and sports fans, and I think that could be like a popular subset for people to go for. It's never even crossed my mind.
Yeah. I hadn't crossed my mind either. Because he's got, like you mentioned, he's a huge crossover there between video games and sports. He is absolutely just as into sports as he is into video games. So it's a perfect collection for him. But you could go like, you could, if you decide you wanted to collect just the games that had Keanu Reeves in it too, like that's that's a subset. You could there's a Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure game. There's a John Wick game. Like you could go nuts. There's Matrix games. Like. You can make these things up, and that's the fun part about it. Sometimes is you can just make up the subset for yourself. Like, nobody can tell you what a fair subset is.
I didn't know there was a John Wick game.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I haven't even seen the movies, but I know that it's like it's on.
Oh, like John Wick Hex or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Right. I think
on
it's a tactical
Switching
game.
PS4. I think. I know I've seen it on PS4 a couple times.
Okay.
I don't know if it's any good because every time I've ever seen it, it's been super cheap. So, like, that tells me it wasn't, but that's not always the case.
I mean, if we're going off Lambert's Land Before Time racing price point, then I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so as far as subsets go, like what are some of your guys' subsets that you like to collect for? Do you have any that you finished, any that you're going for, any that you want to start?
So, as you were kind of talking before, I'm a madman and I like Pokemon a little more than the next guy. So I was originally going for like just mainline series and stuff like that, which the only ones I still need complete are Pokemon Black, Yellow, and Blue. Once I get those, I'll have all the mainline ones complete and out of the way.
That's pretty
But
good.
then I was like, kind of want to get the side ones too, which I have most of them, not all complete, like Stadium, Stadium 2, stuff like that. So those would be pretty cool to get because, I don't know, just a big Pokemon guy like that. And there's one regional one I want to get that we never got here, which I'm going to include in it, which is a Pokemon typing adventure. It's like a DS game, comes in like a big box with a keyboard. Plug the keyboard into the DS or like wirelessly or something like that. And Pokemon pop up, you type their name, stuff like that. That's one I want to get one day.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I've seen that before, and frankly, like I said, I don't really intend to collect regional variant games, but I think that's cool. And if I ever found it at the right
Yeah.
price, I 100% would buy it. It's just such a
Yeah, there's
unique
one that
piece.
has like English on it. So, I mean, that would be the one I'd go for. Of course, that's the one that's more expensive.
Yeah.
But that's one that I would like go out of my way for, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I think even though like I don't go hardcore for Pokemon games now, I do think Pokemon games are what got me more into subset collecting because pre-pandemic I was trying to get some of the games that I hadn't got yet. And I got Pokemon Dash and I got XD Gale of Darkness and Trozy and a couple other the more obscure ones I had never played and that I wanted. But then when they all started popping off during COVID, I was like, well,
Dude,
I'm done with that for now. and
that's when I took a big break from it. I was like, man, this is getting way too expensive. Like, I got some of them for great deals pre-COVID, like Pokemon Emerald. I got that for $45 complete.
yeah, that's a great
Now
deal.
it's like $500 or $600.
Yeah.
The
call that-
Crystal, like,
We
what?
call that pre-Pokedemic.
Pokemon. Like, and some of them I got for like good deals, like off of Marketplace after like Pokedemic, but
It's coined now.
like off of some like college kid's mom that's selling off his collection that actually happened, and I got like White 2 and Black 2 and Soul Silver for like 50 each at the
Dang.
time, so that was a good deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I got lucky with some of my Pokemon games just from my GameStop days. Like I have the big box. I had the big box for Soul Silver and all of the inserts and everything because they were just going to throw it away and sell the game. So I was like, oh, I'm going to keep it all. So then I got the game for much cheaper and had a complete copy for nothing. I still had my Heart Gold from when I wasn't a kid, but from when it came out. But I saved a box from Emerald that way too. Somebody brought it to trade it in. They didn't want to take it home and they were just going to throw it away at
Dang.
my store. And I was like, well, I'm going to keep it. Like, and that
Made
was,
off great on that one.
yeah. I mean, I was just taking it to keep it literally, like, cause I was just like Pokemon. It didn't have the value it has now, but I definitely got lucky there.
Sheesh. There you go.
Yeah. I know a subset that both Tyler and I like to go for. I grabbed a game just as an example is the Soadesco set.
Yes, sir.
Which is just a publisher, and they tend to publish obscure.
Real quick though, what game was that?
Oh, sorry, it's Tokitori 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't have that one yet.
This one's pretty obscure. So, this isn't the right subject for it, but I actually was at PAX one year, and the developer for this game Two Tribes is the publisher or the developer for the game. And one of the guys who worked on the original Tokitori, which was a Game Boy Color game, was working on this game, and he was there. And his like excitement and passion for it made me so excited for this game. And it was a Wii U release, a digital Wii U release originally. So I bought that game day one, and it's fun. It's like a really slow-paced puzzle game, where like a platform puzzler. But yeah, it's one of the games in this Soadesco set, and most of the games in this set are super obscure, like indie games, like games you might not have heard of very often otherwise. But a lot of them have a lot of like they're good games from what I can tell. Like I've played some of them, and like Tokitori 2 is a really fun game. Another one that I got recently physically, but I'd played digitally before was Tricky Towers. That was a really fun game. I don't even know what it was that got me going for this subset at some point. Probably just the fact that the games are obscure and seem to be mostly good games. But it's a fun one to collect for, and it's fun too because when you're at a store, whether it be a GameStop or whatever, the Soadesco is like super visible on the spine.
Yeah.
So it's easy to just like look through the bookshelf games and be like, oh, which one is that? You don't have to pull out each one individually to look at the publisher, which is nice.
Yeah, I remember back then when like two of the big ones were like Earthlock. Before I think they got a reprint or something now. There's a lot like copies up there, and they're only like $20 now. Before they were like $80, $100.
Yeah, I didn't realize that one had dropped. I need to get it then because it's one I actually want to play.
If I would have known that, would have got you a copy. I see them like often.
Yeah,
and then Truck Driver as well.
I haven't even. That's such a generic name.
Hold on. Arms Reach, baby.
Oh man, just as good as I would have expected.
I tried playing this, and this is so generic. Like,
what do you do? Like, what do you do, Tyler?
Well, let's see. You drive trucks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you get to like one objective. It's like, great job. Go deliver this now. Oh, and you got to go like across the country again. You're just like, okay, I had enough of this.
So Soadesco usually publishes really good, like Indian unique titles.
Yeah, most of the time, like 98% rate.
Yeah, and they a lot of times do. I'm gonna grab another one. Cool, like.
Was that Girl on the Robot?
Yeah, it's Girl on the Robot, and they'll do these versions too that come with. I got all this stuff, the paperwork in here, but that has the soundtrack and stuff too. Like they do a lot of these kinds of prints too. Some of them have manuals, I think, but it's not uncommon that they do cool releases of a game with the soundtrack and stuff, which is, I don't know, makes it more fun. Plus, look at this cover art. It's just so pleasant. He's such a kind-looking robot. Look at how he's saying, "Let me help you along the way, young girl." This is the deluxe edition. All right, done with that.
And they got like Kaz of the Wild Mask. Apparently, that's like a decent game.
Yeah, I've heard that one's good.
Monster Crown, I think it is, like a Pokemon clone.
Yeah, I actually backed that game on Kickstarter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's okay. The best part about that game is it is a Pokemon clone, but with like a darker story. But I haven't played it in a while, but when I played it back right after it came out, it was pretty buggy and like weird things would happen. like you just freeze in place and not be able to move. And I don't know, the selling point to that game was the darker, slightly teen-based story. So, you know, Pokemon's never all that dark other than probably Gen 5. And then you could breed any two monsters together and like come up with like thousands of different possible outcomes. But I can't imagine that ended up working out as well as they sold it because nobody ever talked about this game. And I feel like they would have if it was a really cool feature.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they had that game on Kickstarter before any Pokemon game actually came out on Switch, and I bought into the hype. I was like, I want a Pokemon game, and it did not come out until after Sword and Shield did. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it took a while. It didn't even beat. I mean, Let's Go came out before Sword and Shield, so it took a while.
Couldn't beat Pokemon Quest. Couldn't get out before that.
Dang it. What about you, Christian? What are some subsets you enjoy going for? I have more, but I'm trying to share the wealth.
Well, to talk about Soadesco for a second and just like modern collecting, I think has gotten pretty interesting in the sense that you can, like, games don't always come, especially post-pandemic, Pokedemic. We have this era where things don't always end up on a store shelf, and that means they're only being sold online. And back in the day, you know, you think of things like Pokemon Box that was only sold online. Like, that was a big deal back then. And it's definitely less of a big deal now because of how big Amazon is and everything is buying stuff online. But you're still like, you're able to go online, eBay, whatever, discover these crazy games that you've never seen. Like every Soadesco title you guys are showing off. It's like, this probably never sat at a GameStop. This probably was never on a Best Buy shelf. Or like if GameStop did get it, it got a single copy in like the entire city, right? It's like, it's an interesting era. You know, Madden makes it to store shelves, but all these weird little titles from so many different publishers are just like being glazed over, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well,
it makes collecting cool though.
It does. I mean, it's so much more unique now. When I, was growing up, even when I worked at GameStop, any game that came out, generally they got a physical release for it at the store. Like whether it was just one copy or a dozen, there was no game that you didn't get a copy of. But by the time I left GameStop, which was the Wii U, PS4, Xbox One, it was getting more common that if a game wasn't pre-ordered, your store didn't get a copy of it. Like Devil's Third was a good example of that. I never have seen. I still worked at GameStop when that game came out, and I've never seen a copy in person because nobody pre-ordered it. We didn't get it. But then like some of these Soadesco games, like Tokitori 2, when I bought it off eBay, and it was one of 2 copies on there. Like, and I've never seen it in a store. Like,
all right, I need to go buy the second one.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I bought this. I bought it like 2 years ago. Probably, I've had it for a while. So there might be more on there now. But the point I'm making is like they're actually kind of short prints. They seem pretty uncommon, maybe even rare. Some of these releases. But they're still cheap because nobody wants them yet or ever. They might always be cheap, but they definitely have shorter print runs than a lot of other games.
I need to see if somebody has like an actual list of them because like I want to see which ones that I never seen before.
Well, I've never seen Truck Driver before.
See, we fought each other today.
I like to believe Tokitori might be a better than Truck Driver though.
I probably so.
Okay, so the big one that I collect is definitely Rayman. I've talked about it a lot on my channel, but you mentioned like if you wanted to go for everything Pokemon, that would be insane because it's endless. First of all, they don't even make Rayman games anymore. It's a thing of the past. But like Pokemon is still
got
going.
A board game.
Yeah, if even if Pokemon had stopped today, they just ceased to exist, you would still not be able to collect every Pokemon thing because it has been, it's insanely popular. I don't even need to explain it. It's like the #1 most recognized license in the world or something crazy.
Yeah.
But Rayman, on the other hand, I think I was really drawn to it, not because like I'm some super Rayman fan. I love Rayman 2, and I don't know. I played it a lot as a kid, but I think I was drawn to it from a collectibles side just because it's very obtainable. Because one, there's not a lot of competition. There's not very many Rayman collectors. But two, it's very easy to get every game. It's very easy. I wouldn't say easy. It's a small number to get everything Rayman. There's figurines. There's a couple of plushies out there. Like there really isn't. It's like the opposite end of the spectrum compared to Pokemon, and because of that, I think I was really drawn to it. And so I've kind of decided to. I'm in like no rush, but I am collecting everything Rayman, every game that ever released that has Rayman in the title. And I say it that way because I don't want the Raving Rabbids games if I don't have to. But every game, not just released in the US, but I want to get every copy of every Rayman game that released all over the world. There's different releases in Europe and Japan and Korea, and there's even the occasional Chinese release. There's all kinds of cool stuff. I've got a ton of figures. I love the variants. I love it all, and I've got a pretty massive collection of Rayman crap, and that's definitely the big one for me.
And it's a cool collection. Like from what I've seen, what you shared of it on that Rayman Collectors video you posted. Yeah,
thanks.
It's a lot of cool, and I love stuff like that. And just to piggyback off of that, for me, as anybody who probably listens to this podcast knows, for me that is Tojem and Earl, which is for how maybe there aren't a lot of Rayman collectors. There's even less Tojem and Earl collectors. But it makes it fun to find really obscure stuff because the first Tojem and Earl came out in like 91 or 2 on the Sega Genesis. So you can find there's some really cool like advertising merch from like stores from like Kmart and Target and stuff like that from when they came out. Like I just saw on eBay the other day, somebody has a hanging store display that was one of ToeJam and one of Earl, and then the sign that says ToeJam and Earl, and it'd never been used, so it's all like unpopped and everything. But they want like $3,000 for it, and I'm like, okay, that's not even remotely in my price range. But
gotta get a third job now.
Yeah. but it's still cool. But like as far as like the game collecting goes, it's easy. There's 4 games. There was the 2 on Genesis, ToeJam and Earl 3 on Xbox, and then Back in the Groove on modern consoles. So unless I decided to ever get, like the European and Japanese releases, which if I found them, I would probably buy them, but I'm not in a hurry to get those. But whenever I see merch, I try to buy it, and I had Jasmine just run this into me because I just got these the other day. So I should have showed them off, but I just recently got the ToeJam and Earl figures from these were from the Kickstarter. So when Back in the Groove came out and they did a Kickstarter for it, one of the tiers you could add these on for a price. And when they were doing it, we were just freshly married and I had no money, so I could not buy these figures. And I've been on the lookout for them for years now. I've saved searches on eBay and stuff trying to find these, and they almost never pop up. But when they do, people want $300 each for them. Like they want way too much money for them. And a local game store had these. The same store I got those games on Black Friday from. They ended up getting them just a couple days ago and they had them for $50 each. So my buddy Jaden, who lives over there, he went and grabbed them for me. But yeah, I was super excited to add these to the collection. But like you were saying with Rayman, the amount of merch for this isn't crazy, but because of the more recent game and their partnership with Limited Run, there is a lot of things that I didn't get because I totally missed the Limited Run anniversary thing they did where they released a skate deck and a bunch of other stuff. I didn't know that it even happened. I don't know how I missed it, but so there's stuff that I need, and then obviously cool like individual collectible stuff from when the old games came out, like I mentioned, with different retail. They have buttons and like standees and stuff, but they get expensive.
So were those first 2 published by Sega?
Yeah, the first, I think first 3 were all published by Sega. If I'm not mistaken, Sega actually owned the rights for them, and then Greg Johnson, who was one of the 2 creators, bought it out from them because he had with another guy, they created the series, and yeah, Sega owned the rights, but they bought it and now they can do what they want with it. But Sega must not have seen they were just blind. They didn't see the mass amount of money they could have been making from ToeJam and Earl.
Yeah, you're definitely the only ToeJam and Earl guy I know, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I think I'm the only ToeJam and Earl guy I know.
I know, I know one guy other than you.
Oh, yeah?
2 people.
Let's go. We have to meet up and play online now, me and this other guy.
I remember like
oh, go ahead, Tyler.
Oh, I remember when I was at like Too Many Games, like this is where I met this guy. He actually gave me some like ToeJam and Earl posters. I don't even know what they were from because he was like, "Oh, I got these. If anybody wants any for Too Many Games," that's kind of how we like talked. Then he like ran into me, gave me the posters and stuff. And I remember I don't know if he ended up getting it, but there was this vendor there who had like a giant sign. It was like a ToeJam and Earl sign. It wasn't like official. It was like a custom made thing.
Yeah.
I remember he was like asking him like, "Hey, is there any way like I could get that if you're tossing now?" They're like, "Yeah, we don't know." But then I guess the next year they're like, "Oh, if you want it, we could probably do something with it." And then yeah, I guess he was gonna get that. He got like the jacket, everything, dude. He got all this stuff. Dude, I mean, I'm sure some of it's not official, but yeah, he's big into ToeJam and Earl.
Respect. It's nice to know that I'm not the only one.
So we got ToeJam and we got Earl. There we go.
Let's go. Yeah, they're fun games. Me and my friends, my friend Nick and his brother, who's also my friend. I don't know why I do that every time, but we would play those games all the time when we were kids. But they're not all obsessed with. They're not huge on the nostalgia like I am. Yeah, another subset. This was a recent pickup for me too, but this is a subset I've wanted to get into for a long time, and I finally found one of the games at a really good deal. And I know you guys are both familiar with this, but it's the classic NES series of Game Boy Advance games. This is a dumb thing for me to get into because I have so many ways to play every other one of these games that came out, but I think the box art is so cool, and I love them so much. You know that
That's
meme?
the only one I own.
Is it? I mean, it's such a cool,
Yeah,
it's the only one
Bomberman.
I own now too, but I've wanted to start collecting the subset for forever. And you know that meme of Marge Simpson where it's like she's holding something, she's like, I just think it's neat.
Hey, Homer.
Yeah,
I just think it's neat, Homer.
yeah, exactly. That's me in the classic NES series. I just think it's neat, and I've always wanted to get into it. And now I am at a point when the prices are too high. But I did get this for like $25, so it felt pretty cheap. That was cheaper than
With the
it.
cartridge?
Yeah, it's complete.
Nice.
Yeah, it's amazing how much better Game Boy Advance games look too. Even if this box is in pretty good shape, but the second you put them in a box protector, they look so nice. They look so clean.
This is true.
I would love to get this whole set though, and get one of those NES themed Game Boy Advance SPs in box, and just have that nice set displayed like a piece of art for me to enjoy looking at.
That's a good one.
One that I kind of, speaking when you showed that Game Boy Advance game, the Bomberman like games, really enjoy those. That's one I'm trying to like get one of every game. I buy like merch and stuff whenever I see. I got these like little Gashapon figures. I got a plush that has like a magnetic bomb, so he can hold it and you get to like adjust his eyebrows and stuff.
That's cool.
I got one of those. Yeah, one big one I still need is like the second attack. That's the main one kind of holding me back, but yeah, and then unfortunately I also own Super Bomberman R2.
That's
RIP to
Christian's
that
favorite game.
Remember me and Chris were trying to play that online on launch day, and that was pretty bad. One day maybe they'll get their servers straight and how to work a lobby and online system.
It's
But
just wild.
yeah, then there's like some cool things that I want to get like for that, like the regional things. Like I remember I kept begging Christian to do a complete the set Bomberman, video, and he finally did. Great video. I recommend it.
Thank
Go
you.
watch it. He called me something with those. What it was like Game Boy Advance or Game Boy tins,
Yeah, man.
whatever. Dude, those are so sick. Like I need those.
Yeah.
I think 2 of the 5 Game Boy Bombermen, for the listeners, there is a like it didn't come in a cardboard box. It came in a freaking tin. It's not a cylinder. It's not a rectangle, but it's a rectangle with curves.
Oh,
And,
hello.
It's a tin, and it was Japan only, and it's freaking sick. I need those on my shelf.
Yeah, those things are pretty cool. And just off topic for a second, but those collect the set videos you do those are super fun. I love those videos.
Fine, I'll do
He needs
another
to do
one.
yeah.
Golly.
I've been telling him for like 2 years. He needs to do a Castlevania one for Halloween.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of your favorite series, right? So it seems like a
Now it's
no-brainer.
gonna have to be 3 years, but
I wanted to surprise Tyler with it this year, but it didn't happen.
You would have surprised
that
yourself
would've
with it.
been great.
Oh man. From that Bomberman one you did, like just seeing that the multi-tap for the Sega Saturn, like I was like, that is the coolest little thing ever. Like that they did a Bomberman face multi-tap. I don't know why I want one, but I want one.
Yeah. Yeah, Tyler mentioned Second Attack, but he didn't mention that he owns Saturn Bomberman, like
Oh,
a
yeah,
freaking
too.
team.
How
Isn't
I
that more
acquired
expensive
that
than-
game?
It's probably more expensive than a
I don't
loose
know.
copy.
But how I acquired that game is crazy. Like in one day, probably the span of 30 minutes, I had some of like my limited run Switch stuff, like Thimbleweed Park and stuff, and I traded it into this one vendor. I ended up getting enough credit that I got a loose Harvest Moon on the Super Nintendo, which I then went to another table and I was like, hey, would you trade this for that Saturn Bomberman? It was like a little trade up thing, I guess. And then he was just like, oh, can I check if it's authentic? I was like, yeah, go for it. And then so we opened it up, it was authentic and everything. And I think I did like that and like it was like $50, $75 on top of that. But hey, I was happy with it. Technically I was walking out with it for like $50, $75. So
Yeah,
Saturn Bomberman.
I've heard
And then I
that's
showed
the
our
best one, but I haven't played it.
showed our buddy Vinny, and then he got jealous to where he had to go to a booth and buy another Saturn Bomberman. So we could buy 2 Saturn Bombermans in one day.
I love that. He's just like, no, you can't be the only one.
He's like, you can't be the only one. I'm getting Saturn Bomberman too, boy.
I love that.
I don't even think 2 sold on launch day for that game back in the 90s.
Jeez, sad but true. The
there it
Saturn. Saturn was something else. I didn't know a single soul with the Saturn when I was a kid.
One more real quick one I'm gonna say is I'd count this as a subset. So there is 3 of them. I'm missing one, which is like the most common one, but it's the most expensive for some stupid reason. And that is Sega. They did these Sega Fun Packs. There's 3 of them in total. There's one on the PSP, there's one on the PS2, and there's one on the Wii. They're all like different. This one comes with, on the PSP, Sonic Rivals 2 and the Sega Genesis collection. PS2 comes with Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic Mega Hits collection, if I'm right. And the Wii one comes with Super Monkey Ball and Sonic and the Secret Rings, I believe. What a game. But yeah, those are some that like this one and the PS2 one I had to have on my eBay save searches for a while. Eventually they popped up and it was just something where I was like, I don't care how much it is, buying it.
Yeah, I mean, trying to find them with that outer sleeve, I'm sure, is a complete utter like pain. Like those, what's that GameCube one that's super expensive?
That duo pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because I'm sure they sold quite a few of them, but trying to find the sleeve itself, everybody just threw it away. So, yeah,
the numbers recently came out from a guy who used to work at the factory or something that printed those double packs on GameCube, and so like he just happened to have a file somewhere saying how many of those were printed, and it was in the thousands for all 3 of them. It's kind of crazy how insanely rare they are right now.
They are just that. Even if people had kept the sleeve, they were still that uncommon.
Well, no, I'm saying like we know of like 6 or something of the duo pack, and yet there were thousands printed. Like it's just insane to me.
Of each. I don't know why I read it as all of them was only thousands covering all of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
they gotta be sitting in a warehouse somewhere, dude. You know, freaking what's that eBay vendor?
Deal Tavern.
Yeah, Deal Tavern.
One day I'll just have a bunch of them.
Start putting them out $500 each, and then just make bank.
God.
No, it's a matter of time until those Sega Fun Packs, I don't know, they need a Metal Jesus video to skyrocket, just like the GameCube ones. So I think it's awesome that you have 2 of them, Tyler.
Yeah, I got the PS2 and the PSP.
Is the Wii one the hardest to find, or just?
I would say the PSP is probably the hardest. This is the only one I ever seen.
Yeah.
And then there's PS2, which there were a couple, but a lot of them were like way higher than what I wanted. Then that one went up for like auction, and it ended. And I told the guy how much was the best you would do, and he negotiated with me. I got it for like, it was like 2 something. And then the Wii one, there's like, if you look at it right now, you'll probably see like 3 or 4 of them. But some people are like, oh, $1,000. But they've been sitting on it forever. So it's just a matter of time until one pops up for a good price, and I'm like, bye.
Yeah, that's the key. You just have to wait for it to come up. You did a video on that, right? Like an unboxing? When you got it?
My first YouTube video.
Yeah, so
I was like, this is something worthy.
If you're listening and you're curious to see what this looks like and learn more, go watch that video. Game Collecting Reaper.
Thank you, sir.
No, thank you for putting out good content.
Okay. Yeah, I need to get back on that. My computer's kind of like a dinosaur. It kind of reminds me of Land Before Time. So
you named it Littlefoot?
Yeah, Littlefoot's right here. And
how you doing?
But
you'll go to the Great Valley soon, buddy.
New computer coming in like a couple weeks, so and I'll get on the grind. So
and the videos will come popping out like regular.
Hopefully, should be.
No, that's good, man. Any other subsets, Christian, that you want to talk about? I have a couple more still.
I have a couple more that I go for. I have a bunch of examples we could talk about if you want, but
yeah, just have at it.
The other ones I go for, I love Spider-Man. I talked about how I read comics last time I was on, and I love me some Marvel comics. I love me some Spider-Man, and I translated that over to video games. I was a comic book collector before I became a video game collector, and I dropped comic book collecting to focus on video game collecting. And I love collecting Marvel games. And so there's still stuff coming out, obviously. Marvel's as popular as it's ever been. And it's, you know, there was that era in the 2000s, I would say. The Wii, the GameCube, games were hit or miss, mostly miss. There was a lot of garbage coming out. There was a ton of movie tie-in games, and because of that, there's a lot of cool like movie ticket variants.
Mm-hmm.
You can get Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer on like 5 different platforms, all with a movie ticket variant. I think it's super cool. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff dating back to like I think Spider-Man on Atari 2600 was probably the first Marvel game, and it goes all the way to Spider-Man 2 or whatever was the newest Marvel game. Like there's so much to collect there, so many variants. I've considered doing like
I mean, we got Marvel Rivals tomorrow, so
is that even physical?
probably not since it's free to play.
Yeah, probably.
Actually, yeah. Maybe they'll do some kind of edition like Fortnite does or something.
Yeah.
Oh, get this Venom costume if you buy this DLC. $20 physical.
Did you get what was that Marvel game that came out in the last couple of years? I can picture the cover. Is it Midnight Sun?
Midnight Suns? I didn't get it.
It's on my wish list.
That game, I was watching a video the other day, and somebody was talking about that being like a hidden gem or something. But I didn't know it was like a card-based like action RPG. It looks really fun, actually. Like I had completely written it off just because I don't know. The Marvel train is kind of ridden out for me a little bit. Like I read comics and kind of collected comics too when I was a kid and in my like late teens, but I don't do it as much, and the movies have gotten, I don't know, not a huge fan anymore. But that game looks really cool.
Yeah, I feel like they did something weird where they like hid it. They didn't want anyone to know it was a card-based game. It was really weird. All the advertising never showed any cards or anything.
Yeah, I had no idea.
They
I
were
didn't know
ashamed of it. I don't
anything
know.
about it. But knowing it's a card-based game made it look cooler to me. So
Yeah.
I know, like, just with Marvel games though, and like Spider-Man especially, like some of the games back from like the Game Boy, Super Nintendo, Game Gear, like the box art on some of those games is so cool.
Mm.
I'm not like, what was it? Web of Fire? Is that the Sega CD one or 32X one?
32X, yeah.
That is such that box art is so nice. Like, I know it's super expensive, but it's a super clean looking game, and that alone. Go ahead.
I just got separation anxiety. It's one of the coolest box arts ever.
Yeah,
that was a good pickup.
That's a super cool pickup. And then wasn't there? Is that the one with the red cartridge, or is that no Maximum Carnage? Is the one with the red cart. And then that one has that. I think you talked about it before, that QVC variant.
Yeah, so there's a QVC, the shopping network. They made a variant for, I think it's like 500 of each for Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, where it came in this massive box. You get I think you got like an actual sealed copy of the game in the box, and you got like a hardcover book covering all of the Maximum Carnage comics in it, and probably like some commemorative coin or something. It's insanely expensive now, and I'm not sure if I'll ever have one.
So do we know what the subset's looking like for all QVC variant video game releases?
Good question.
That'd be a subset. That'd be something. Yeah, I got every game that released limited edition on QVC.
So I wish that I would have. Oh, I had that game. It would be super cool to have. But my mom, when I was a kid, that's like all she watched was QVC. She had that channel on 24/7, and
Chris, look, they got the Land Rover Time Racing on. You want it?
Oh, let's go! Oh man, like I don't think I ever benefited from her QVC addiction, but like there was one time my parents had a flat screen TV, but it was before plasmas and stuff. It was one of the big box ones, and she watched QVC so much that it burnt the image into the screen. So if there was a white screen, you could see the border of like the QVC where it had the phone number and stuff and what the item was. And yet I never got Maximum Carnage. So thanks, Mom. Thanks for nothing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the UPS guy knew our house by name because of all the packages she would get. My mom had a little bit of a problem. That's probably where I get my buying issues from. Thanks, Mom.
You bought QVC, now I just buy video games.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, no, Marvel collecting is definitely cool. There's some, I mean, nowadays some of the games just come with cool statues. That Venom and Miles and Peter one from Spider-Man 2 it's a cool statue.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. I really loved that.
Venom or something like that.
I really wanted that PS4 Pro that came out for Marvel Spider-Man 1. That was a really nice console.
Very clean.
My roommate has it. He doesn't collect video games, and I will be acquiring it one of these days.
Yeah. At some point, he's gonna want to offload it.
I should have just gave you Scooby Doo in the Cyber Chase. You could be like, hey, I'll trade you this.
I
for
got a
that
trade
PS4
for you,
Pro."
buddy.
Listen, this and a copy of Eminem signed by Bill Rogers, whatever the heck his name is.
No,
Dude,
that's
so-
priceless. So, he should be. Paying at
yeah.
that point.
So as far as like the Marvel games go, I think 60 to 70% of Marvel games is Spider-Man, which is great if you're a Spider-Man fan. If not, sucks to suck. There's quite a few Hulk games, but like in general, there is a ton of Marvel characters. I mean, obviously there's thousands probably of Marvel characters, but like there's a lot of mainline Marvel characters that just never got a game. I don't know. I'm not going to try to think of one, but X-Men and Spider-Man got the most for sure. And yeah, I guess I don't need to harp on Marvel too much. The other license that I'm really into collecting, like I call it a subset, is Hanna-Barbera. I'm a big fan of, like, God bless Boomerang. When I was growing up in the 2000s, man, I freaking loved Boomerang. I don't know.
Yeah,
Y'all watch Boomerang?
I did. Yeah,
That's Boomerang.
Top Cat. I
Um,
don't know why that's the first one that
yeah,
comes to mind, but
Top Cat would come on at like 3 a.m. and I was still up for some reason, just like on summer nights between school.
Yeah.
I was watching Top Cat, and yeah,
Snagglepuss and
I freaking love classic cartoons, and yeah. So unfortunately, like every Flintstones game costs a fortune, every Jetsons game costs a fortune. So that's a subset that I will acquire in the long term, but yeah.
that Flintstones you have on Master System, that Brazilian release, that one's super
Mhm.
cool. Master System games, their boxes are usually pretty ugly, but that one actually is a cooler box for sure.
That's true.
But
Yeah,
it has
Master
nothing on your
System,
Afterburner. I was dying when you shared that video the other day that Afterburner's like falling apart.
Afterburner was like $1 at a game convention. I was like, yeah, why
I
not? My
would've bought it
first
too.
Master System game.
Yeah, I don't have a single Master System game.
Nor should you.
I don't have a Master System, so I think if I was to buy any of them, it would probably be King's Quest, just because I love Sierra point-and-click games. But I don't even know how that could possibly play well on the Master System. But I don't know.
There's like a handful of things that are really worth collecting on Master System, and they just cost too much. Like Golden Axe has some kind of RPG or something on that console.
It'd be cool to have.
I don't even remember
I
what it's
didn't
called,
even
but
know
yeah,
that.
that would be so good.
A couple years ago, was it at Portland? I think it was at Portland Retro Game Expo. Not John Riggs. John Hancock had his Sega collection on display.
Immortal.
They had like a I don't know, like a museum thing set up, and he had because he has a full Master System collection and a bunch of I don't know if he has everything or not, but that's the first
so
time.
many sets.
Yeah, the dude's got a lot complete. That's the first time I'd ever seen a Master System collection complete. It's the first time I'd seen most of those games in person. Like, you don't see those very often. I know I mentioned Dragon Ball Z earlier. Dragon Ball Z and Star Wars are probably my two licensed games that I go after the most. X-Men as well, since we were talking about Marvel. Like, you were a Spider-Man kid. Like, I was obsessed with the X-Men when I was a kid. I loved the cartoon when I was super young, and then when the movies came out, I was obsessed all over again. And I love the X-Men Legends games. I have the first X-Men game on Game Gear and the first one on Genesis, but there's quite a few I'm missing overall. Like, probably any of the more pricey ones I don't actually own. But Dragon Ball is one I really enjoy going for. There's some crazy variants out there. And I'll shout out to Tyler again for helping me get the greatest hits Xenoverse for the PS4.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. ABS Hill was like, I got 3. I was like, I'm about to get them all sold right now.
Yeah, guys, like, they've been sitting on these for years. Yeah, and like I love collecting steelbooks, and there's some really cool Dragon Ball steelbooks. I was super ticked that I missed out on the collector's edition for Sparking Zero, because the statue's freaking awesome. The steelbook is awesome. It came with cards for the card game that I very, 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 very casually play. And I didn't. So missing that was just a complete bummer. But it's fun when you like a license enough to go for the games. Like Star Wars is probably the one that hits home most for me because I've been a huge Star Wars fan basically since I can remember. And Star Wars is one of the rare franchises that I feel like has more hits than misses in their games. It probably helps that Star Wars fans, no, they aren't easy to please, but like, if the game's even decent, a lot of times we're going to end up liking it. But I even like some of the crappy ones. So, luckily there's not a lot of like crazy expensive Star Wars games, so it's an easy set to go for. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite to go for. I'm always adding new Star Wars games to the collection because you can find them pretty cheap. But I like to buy most of them in person because it's more fun that way, and they're not wildly uncommon. So
I can't think of an expensive Star Wars game.
There really is. Even the 64 ones completed box aren't that expensive.
Oh, he's gonna say the PSVR game.
Yeah, there you go. I knew it.
I'm on the lookout for that. And honestly, if I had found it by this point, I probably would have bought a VR2 when they were on sale. But since I don't have that and I don't want to spend the money because I'm going on vacation, I did not buy one. But
yeah, I lucked out on that one when that store was closing, and I got it for like 40% off or something like that.
Yeah, that's a deal.
Great.
Yeah, every time I go to a GameStop or any other store, I always look for it, but I never see it. That's definitely one of the more pricey ones. Yeah, at the most expensive, like some of the Game Boy Advance games get a little pricier. Like Jedi Power Battles on Game Boy Advance is about $100, but like none of them are that crazy expensive. Even the PC big box games aren't that expensive.
Oh, shout out to so good.
Shout out to Star Wars Super Bombad Racing for being better than Land Before Time Racing.
Okay, that's another one. As a kid, I liked that game. I haven't played it as an adult, but I know everybody dogs on that game too.
Yeah, it's probably bad.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I have 4 of the Star Wars big box PC games.
Dang.
Yeah, Dark Forces, Jedi Knight, TIE Fighter, and X-Wing. Those are cool. There used to be a Star Wars store in a city down south of here. The guy was like a thrift store, but he just sold Star Wars stuff that people would donate to him and stuff. He was kind of crazy, but he was fun. And he would get these PC games and he'd sell them for like $10 each. So that's how I got all of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Send me a picture after this.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I don't collect a lot of PC games. But any of the Star Wars ones, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm a big Sierra point and click fan, so I have like a few of the Space Quest and a few King's Quest games. And frankly, if I find any big box PC Sierra game cheap, I'll buy it just because it says Sierra on it, and I think they were cool when they were good.
Yeah.
One more I'm gonna mention. Speaking off of Chris, he said the Dragon Ball Xenoverse PlayStation Hits game. So one thing, subset you could go for is like greatest hits, PlayStation hits, player's choice, whatever that system wants to call it. So one for me, PS4, the PlayStation hits. It's kind of cool. Like I like that it's like a modern one because there's some that people are still like discovering because there's some that are just so like hard to find and rare that you don't even know. And then like for instance, the Dragon Ball Xenoverse one, I would have never known if I didn't see some guy make a post on like a Facebook group because the one that I bought, all the listings, they just have like European copy stock photos. So I literally went through and messaged every single person, was like, is this an ESRB rated? Is this ESRB? Finally, somebody answered. So yeah, it's cool like having that. I have like 20 of them and there's 60 that are known so far. I got most of the hard ones out of the way. I need one more. One day I'll get that. We'll see. And also, shout out to Chris for gifting me Evil Within PlayStation hits, one that he just randomly walks into a GameStop and finds. I don't get.
I'm glad I knew what the harder to find ones are. I look for Dragon Age every time I go. Inquisition. Anytime I go to a GameStop or any other store, I always look just in case. So I'm keeping an eye out for you.
A lot of times I see like Lego Batman 3 is one of the like harder ones to find. I'll like go to a store and I'll see it and I'm like, whoa, they got it. And I pull it out. It's like, oh, no, but it's Peggy. That's not it. Or then like some, I'll be like, oh, Mad Max, but that's a European only one that we know of. And same with the Uncharted trilogy. That one only came out not here, but everywhere else.
That's kind of weird. We didn't get it. It's not like it
Yeah, you
didn't
would
sell
think.
well here.
Yeah, but maybe because they put the Nathan Drake collection so cheap right away to like $20, they're like, yeah, there's no reason to have a budget one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's PlayStation. They make some weird moves sometimes.
Yeah, that they do. Yeah, I don't particularly collect any of the greatest hits sets, but I do collect. There's one I'm slowly going for. It's not too big of one, and that's the Dreamcast Sega All Stars collection, greatest hits, and that's just what they call their greatest hits, Sega All Stars. It's a dumb reason, but I really like the color orange, so I like that their spines are orange. And for the most part, other than the sports games, they're all like really good releases. So I figured like it's just kind of a fun subset to go for. But like I said, I'm going very slowly for it because I think I got a oh my god, I got a Dreamcast replacement probably about 4 years ago, and since then I've only bought 4 total. So 1 a year I'm at. So I'm not moving very quick. I had my finger on the buy, or I guess I should say I had my button ready to click buy it now on somebody had Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2 listed, and it was the Sega All-Stars version of it. And it was a pretty good price, but not so good that I could talk myself into it. But yeah, that's the only greatest hits set I actually am going for the complete set of slowly. But one I think is really cool. I don't know. I know you guys are probably familiar with it, but I don't know if you have any of them. I don't have any of them, but is the Player's Choice set on Game Boy Advance. I just think that's so crazy that they even did that. Like, it wasn't uncommon that they put like, bestseller stickers or, whatever on games on Game Boy Color, or even on Game Boy Advance probably, but to actually put the Player's Choice banner on it is so wild to me. Like, it's strange that it even exists. And sometimes like those anomalies where it's like, this is weird that it even exists, like makes me want to get them. But I haven't bit the bullet on any of them because either A, I have the game already and it's way too expensive, like a boxed leaf green, or like it's cheaper, like Four Swords, but I already have it and I don't see a point in having 2 of them. So
there's only 8.
Yeah, it's not a big set. It's an easy
So,
subset,
8?
but not a cheap subset.
Yeah.
Do you know all 8? Top of your head?
There's 2
I'm just
Pokemons.
I know Fire Red, Leaf Green.
Super Mario World.
Mario Kart, right?
Maybe Yoshi's Island. Maybe Superstar Saga. Is that one?
I think it is
think
actually.
so.
Yeah.
And for the sake of the podcast listeners, I'll stop there because that's going to be a lot of uhs, and I don't know.
Man, I didn't know it was only 8. It's pretty interesting.
It's a small subset, but yeah, the Fire Red and Leaf Green are like, that puts it up to like $600 on its own. They're like $300 a piece. So, yeah, I do kick myself. I had a chance to buy a CIB copy of Fire Red probably, I don't know, 12 years ago, and it was only like $40, and I was like, I don't need it. I already have Leaf Green, and I wish I would have just bought it. But c'est la vie. Christian, what are some other subsets you like to collect? If you have any more.
I don't have any more. I just have examples.
All right, I'm going to do my last one then, and then we'll pop off some other examples then. This is probably my favorite subset to collect. I'm somewhat picky with it, though. I don't buy them all that often because I want them to be in good shape. But it is the Game Boy Color with Rumble games. I like to get them complete in box. I only have 3. I have this. So this is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I have Zebco Fishing Challenge and Missile Command. But there are some cool, I don't know how good the games are, but there's some cool ones that had Rumble, like Ready to Rumble Boxing, Perfect Dark on Game Boy Color had Rumble. Vigilante 8 had Rumble.
Real quick, just going to butt into Vigilante 8. So when I was at Too Many Games, my buddy Jonathan, we were walking around, and then somebody had the Vigilante 8 Game Boy Color, and I was looking, I was like, I think that price tag says $7, which is like incredibly underpriced.
Yeah.
And I was, because first off, you don't see it as much, and
it's pretty uncommon.
There's probably like 1 or 2 on eBay, and so I was like, I think that's a 7. And then he looked, he was like, I think it. I was like, you should like buy that. Like, pretty
Yeah.
sure they mismarked it or something. And now this is one of the tables where it was like multiple people working at the table. So this guy probably had no clue. He didn't price it. And then he was like, "Hey, how much is that Vigilante 8?" He pulled it down. He's like, "Oh, I guess 7." And he was like, "I'll take it." I was like,
Yeah.
"What?"
Even 70
like,
would have been
"Alright."
a good price. So
Yeah.
I didn't know about that one.
yeah.
$7. Like,
Yeah,
take my money.
it's one of the harder in this subset to find. But it's definitely also probably the hardest one to find complete in box. And I was a big fan of the Vigilante 8 games because I was a big fan of Twisted Metal as well. So like I just would play anything like that when I was a kid. But yeah, it's a cool subset. Like obviously the most popular of them is Pokemon Pinball. I still have my childhood copy of the game, but I don't know whatever happened to the box. I know I had kept those boxes for a long time, but I think my mom threw them away at some point, which makes me mad. But whatever. Nope, can't cry over spilt milk, right? But it's
She's
just
like, we got to make room for my QVC purchases.
Heck yeah, man! They were coming every day. But I just think it's a cool subset. I just love the uniqueness of them having even added Rumble features. And then recently I started thinking about the DS and how it had the Rumble pack that came with Metroid Prime Pinball, which I have. And I was like, I should collect all the games that supported the Rumble pack on DS just because it's so niche. And I didn't even realize Hunter supports that Rumble pack. But it does. It says it on the back. It supports it. So at some point I'm going to look at that and see if I can't just collect that little random subset on DS just for the heck of it.
So is there a list out there for the Game Boy Color ones? Or did you make your own?
There is a list. I don't remember. I think I found it on Reddit or something. And it was pretty complete from what I could tell. But
That's surprising.
There's not
that it exists.
Yeah, there's like 12. Hole-in-one golf. There's a couple pinball ones. Little Mermaid Pinball is one of them. That one's pretty common.
I think this guy might be trying. So I just went to see how much Vigilante 8 was. So there's like one that's 150 and one that's graded 9.6 A++ for 1,000. But I think this guy's trying to do what you're doing because he's selling a Game Boy Color Rumble lot.
Oh,
just random cartridges. Vigilante 8 Test Drive, Top Gear, NASCAR, Top Gear Pocket, Tonka.
Yeah. I'd say probably half the games are not good, but the other half are pretty decent. Or look decent. Like this Star Wars Episode 1 Racer isn't bad. It's a competent handheld racing game. And the Rumble feature's cool. The coolest part about the game is it plays the Duel of Fates at the opening sequence when you're on the title screen and the character select. And it's, a little chiptune sound. I would say that Pokemon Pinball is probably still the best of these Rumble games. Yeah. But it's just a fun subset.
I have Hole-in-one Golf complete. It has never even crossed my mind, like, what in God's name does a golf game need Rumble for?
The second that ball hits the ground.
Yeah.
Get that nice little jolt to your fingies. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's about it for the subsets that I collect. I before we get into like Christian, you mentioned you have some others. Like I'll just say, like, for me, this is probably one of my favorite things to do with collecting, though, because I love the idea of full set collecting, but I just don't have the room for it. I have more room now than I did in my last apartment, but if I tried to go for a PS2 or a full PS4 set or something crazy like that, it would take up my whole room, and then I'd have nowhere to put anything else. But subset collecting kind of gives you that, like you mentioned earlier, Christian, that box, checking off a box. Like when I'm working on Dragon Ball Z games, like it's nice when I get the last one in a subset of my subset. So like when I got the last PSP game, I was like, now you can set, you are done. And the last I got all the 3DS ones and the DS ones. Oh, actually I'm missing one DS one, but as I finish those, it's fun to be like, I'm done. I don't have to look for those anymore. Yeah. And it's just a very rewarding, I don't know. It's rewarding both for the collector side of me and then also the player side of me that wants to actually play a lot of these games.
I love to just like, I don't really like go for subsets in GameCube because since I'm getting the entire thing, but I do love to like see, oh, that's every Nintendo published game. That's cool. Like I just finished that little set and like I'm gonna go post it on Instagram. I don't know. That's like very it hits dopamine for me to like complete a subset like that. Oh, here's every TMNT game on the console. Let me commemorate that. I don't know what it is in my brain, but I love that crap.
No, I'm the same way. Getting this Driver game on Game Boy Color made me realize that I was like, man, I got a lot of the Driver games. I'm like, so then I started looking. I'm like, I only need like 4 or 5 more Driver games. I don't have the full Driver set. So like now that's on the back of my head now. Like I just need to get a few more. But it's very rewarding when you're like, I have finished this thing and I saw that it was good and I can sit down and stare at it.
Yeah, these are self-made lists. Like you're not impressing anyone except yourself.
Exactly.
It's just like I made this list and now I'm done.
I think if anything, most people look at me and shake their head in disbelief, but I don't care. I'm happy. All right, Christian, why don't you said you had a list of some more subsets that people can collect. Give me some ideas.
Yeah,
Give me more stuff to waste my money on, Christian.
Yeah, this is for you and the listeners in case you're getting bored of, or in case you just need more money to waste. We talked about budget labels. You can do that on any console. All the games from a specific series is really obvious. We talked about Rayman. We talked about Toe Jam and Earl. Games that a certain person worked on. This could be like, a developer, a producer, composer. I've never done this. Does that interest y'all at all?
Kind of. I'm a bit of a Resident Evil fan. And just, of course, now that Shinji Mikami, the guy who created the first, I probably just slaughtered his name because my brain barely could remember what it was there. He created the first Resident Evil. He did them up through 4. When I find out he worked on a game, like it makes me want to play it more. Like Goof Troop on the Super Nintendo. Like
Wow.
Just the fact that he made that game, like, and actually have played it.
Goof Troop to Resident Evil.
Right? Yeah. But Goof,
see that would be what gets me into it. Like figuring out some of your favorite games, like some of them, and seeing their past ones.
Exactly. Like I definitely can't say that I do it, but I can see myself doing it to some extent. Like obviously, I think the most common one there would be Hideo Kojima. Like people who tend to like his games tend to like love his games. So I'm sure there's plenty of people that want a full Kojima set, but Snatcher probably makes that hard for most of them.
Yeah.
I think there's probably, I think if you really wanted to, you could find a game that you loved as a kid that's, some guy was a producer on it and then he went on to go make a few other games. You could probably easily find a subset in there if that was something that someone wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Like David Jaffe, it was the guy, or Jaffe, however it's pronounced, the guy who created Twisted Metal. Like I definitely have played games just because he worked on them going forward. And though I've never played God of War, but he did that game drawn.
You never played God.
No, I know. Hey, if it makes you feel better, I just got the collection on Vita and I put it in my case to take with me on this trip in case I get to my Vita. So,
all right, you gotta let me know if you do.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
I haven't played the new ones. I haven't played the old ones. I have not played. I don't believe I've even played a single minute of any God of War game.
Yeah, I just played it last year, the first one. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard. I've always heard they were really good, and people love this new. I don't know what it is, a reimagining of the series
Norse
or whatever.
mythology.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very popular.
pretty good.
It's probably one of the only big PlayStation franchises that I never have touched. Like that I can think of. There's probably another one, but it's definitely one of them.
I think Tim Schafer would be a good one. I have only played Psychonauts 1 and 2, but he did Day of the Tentacle.
Oh yeah,
He did Brutal Legend.
I love Brutal Legend.
Yeah, I don't know what else he did, but I do love me some Psychonauts.
He did Full Throttle, and he did Grim Fandango as well. Those are both really good. Though I've actually never played Full Throttle, but I hear it is. Yeah, no, Tim Schafer's he's one of those for sure. I think I do actually do more of this than I even realize. I have a signed Day of the Tentacle poster on my wall that Tim Schafer signed at PAX a couple years ago. Oh, probably like 10 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah. That's enough about me.
What else we got? We talked about your friend Jimmy, who does the Seattle sports covers. don't you have another co-host that does like something music related? Like he collects like all the games that have a certain band or something in them.
Oh yeah, Jaden. It was I don't remember who it was, but there's an artist that he likes that does a lot of video music for video games, and if they've done any music in it, he'll buy it. Jaden, you'll
That's
have to
really
let us
cool.
know what it was because I'm almost positive I remember him saying that on a specific episode.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, no, I respect that. That's the thing with video games sometimes is it's fun. Like you can find these things that just interest you and make a game worth playing even if you've never heard of it before just because of that little tidbit of information.
Yeah.
We talked about licenses, movies, TV shows, comic books. I've seen this a lot. If people finish a set, you finish. I think Craig was doing this. He finished the GameCube set. He loves the GameCube so much that he was like, "All right, let me go get all the games that released exclusively in Japan but never came to America, or Europe, never came to America." That's like, at that point you're completing like a worldwide set of sorts, which is really cool.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for that because it's not easy to do. It's a lot of research too. I'm sure people have done the research for you at this point, but it's still you have to research their research.
Right.
Yeah.
That was it. I wrote down like if you completed a subset but you still want more, you could always broaden the horizon and start going for variants if you're really that crazy.
Yeah,
Them
variant
QVC variants.
Dude, variant collecting is a whole another world that fascinates me, and that's how I've mentioned it last time you were on. But that's how I even found your channel in the first place, Christian, is just through your different variant videos. I find it. I wouldn't say I'm a variant collector, but I love the idea of things that are rare. Just like it's not even. I guess it might be a little bit just like I like to be able to say I have this rare thing, but like I don't know, just the fact that there's some of these games out here that had this one random variant that was a really late release that only, we can't even prove that it exists yet, but it's just wild. Like, I don't know. I find it fascinating.
I love that Nintendo or Sega or whoever was just like making games and they're like, "Oh yeah, we changed this thing in our legal department. We need to get rid of this rights reserved and make it a trademark instead." And like decades later, collectors are purchasing this crap, looking at it under a freaking like a magnifying glass, thinking like, "Wow, this is so interesting. They changed the dumbest little thing on this box. I need to know everything about it."
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious, but I love it.
Yeah, no, it's wild. And then like shout out to Rob too. Now I Rock a Teller Suit, like because he's been doing work on the Switch, like complete and cart variants. Like I know there's a whole group of them out there that work on that, but that's a whole nother world that's just wild to me that it even exists. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy that they're releasing versions of games later that have all of it on the cart and they're saying nothing about it. Like
Yeah.
you would have no idea that it exists if people weren't doing the legwork for you basically.
Very true.
It's so crazy, but I don't know. The problem with that is sometimes it makes me want to wait to buy a game at launch if it's not something I feel like I'll play right away in hopes that they release a complete and cart version later after all their updates and stuff. But crazy time we live in when games just aren't
That is
complete
true.
on launch.
You can buy a code in a box. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I did that once. My friends talked me into buying Overwatch on Switch. And me being me, I was like, even though it's just the code in the box, I'm still gonna buy it I'm still gonna buy it physical. And now I just have a box that says Overwatch on it because the game it just will net you to downloading Overwatch 2 now for free. So
which apparently Overwatch is going to be adding an Avatar event. So
interesting.
just saying.
Yeah, Overwatch is fun.
I
I'm just not super into it.
got a Rayman Legends Definitive Edition code in box. No shame.
If they
Gotta
did it
get
with
it.
Tojo and Roll, I'd buy it. I don't know why they would, but if they did,
If I remember right, I might be wrong, but like I remember Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl 2 like was the code in the box, but then I guess eventually they started like putting carts out. And I guess I might be totally wrong. I mean, Rob would probably know, but like some of the ones that had the cartridges in it still said it was just a code in the box when it wasn't.
interesting.
It was kind of weird. There was a way to tell. But like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
If I'm right, I vaguely remember that. in like some Switch collector Facebook group or something.
I'd be interested to know, just because I find this stuff fascinating. Even if I don't buy it, I find it fascinating. Well, like today on Discord, on the Bird Dog Discord, Rob shared that Brett Favre variant cover from, and you guys were talking about whether or not it was even legit, and like how do you prove that? And that's where the collecting bug sometimes is terrible, because I don't like sports all that much. Like very passively do I care about sports. I'm not a Brett Favre fan. I'm not a New York Jets fan. But I saw that, I'm like, man, that's pretty darn cool. Like, I could have that in the collection. And like, I actually clicked on the listing and stuff. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not going to spend $50 on this piece of paper. But it went through my head. Like, oh man, that's cool.
It's that QVC mentality.
I know. Mom trained me young.
I met Rob through you, and I'm so glad I did, because that dude is hilarious. He freaking cracks me up. He's like one of my favorite people now. I love that guy.
He's great. Shout out to Rob.
Yeah, shout out to you, Rob.
Yeah, no, he's fun. I had him on the podcast a few months back, and it was a great time. Great time. I only met him through the having this podcast, so it's been great getting to know him.
I did meet up with him one day. When I found out he was in Jersey, I was like, no way.
He
Like,
gets
right
pretty
there.
close. So one day we should do a mass meetup somewhere, right in the center of the U.S. What's fun to do there?
I'll go to Portland, bro. I'll go to Portland.
Yeah, Portland would be a good. I mean, it's easy for me to say because it's close to me, but Portland would be a good one for a lot of us to meet up at, just because it's such a big show. The Portland Retro Game, and it's fantastic.
Why didn't we get a Hawaii invite? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, what the heck? I would have went.
Y'all want to come and hang out with my wife's family?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't even want. No, I'm just playing.
Shoot.
No, I love them. It'll be fun. Yeah, I was telling Tyler, I think it was just before you came on, I am excited. Well, I'm looking forward to going to Hawaii and just relaxing, enjoying some sun and stuff, because it's cold here now. But there is a Bookman's in, like, not too far from where I'll be, and I've never been to a Bookman's because I know there's only a few in the States, but I know they're big in Japan. And I want to go.
It was Book Off, right?
Book Off. I don't know where
Book Off,
Bookman's
yeah.
came up from. Book Off, Bookman. Yeah, but there's a Book Off's not too far from where I'm staying, and I know that store they always seem to have a lot of cool stuff, whether or not the prices are great or not. Sounds like it varies, but I'm looking forward to going. There's a couple other game stores in the area, it seems. So that's my goal. I just want to go game hunting because that's how cool I am. I'm in Hawaii. I'm not gonna surf.
Hey,
Nah.
Hawaii is where I got my Dexter's Lab Powerpuff combo from.
Dude, that's
I
where
was going to bring that up.
that's where that stuff's at, man. It's hidden in Hawaii.
Dude, that was the craziest way I got that. Like, the dude didn't want to ship it. He was like, I only want to do a local pickup. And I was like, well, where do you live? And he was like, Hawaii. I was like, how am I going to do that?
Guess
So I
I'm going
messaged
on
my one
vacation.
buddy. I was like, hey, you said if I ever need a favor, you know anybody that lives in Hawaii? And he was like, I know one. And I was like, oh, what if they live on the same island? So then I found out, and they were the same island. They were like 20 minutes apart.
Dude, let's go.
So then he ended up getting it and shipping it to me. I was like, that's crazy.
Dude, that's wild.
Chris, if you happen to find one of those in Hawaii, we're going to be on to something at that point.
Yeah.
Hawaii's where they all
Turns
are.
out these only got shipped to Hawaii. I will definitely keep my eye out. That would be a really funny thing to find out, though. Hawaii just randomly gets very specific releases of things over the years.
We need to go take a trip to Canada, get all the Barbie Gloom and Glam pups.
Yes, time to get rich. I think that game alone would keep me from ever bothering going for a complete 3DS set, because I don't think I could ever say that I have a complete set and not have that game, because it is an official release, and I'm never going to spend $2,000 on that game. Never, ever. I refuse.
Yeah.
So in a perfect world where I had the expendable income, I could maybe see myself paying for something like Panzer Dragoon Saga that's actually a good game at least, but not Barbie. And that's a perfect world, because I can't afford Panzer Dragoon Saga now, but
Yeah.
anyway, definitely a fun subject. Subset collecting is fun. I enjoy it. That dopamine rush, like you mentioned, of finishing a subset is a great feeling, and I'm constantly looking to fulfill it more, and then I accidentally start new subsets, like with Driver, that I didn't even know I was going for. But I appreciate you guys coming on here. I didn't make it easy. I had to cancel once and try to reset
It made it
schedules
work.
and everything, but it worked out. And I appreciate you guys making it work. So before we
No
go
problem,
ahead and
man.
close out, why don't you guys each shout out your channels and stuff? Tyler, why don't we start with you? Where can people find you at?
All right, so YouTube, Game Collecting Reaper, everywhere else. Well, YouTube and Instagram, Game Collecting Reaper, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Tyler Hate, because Game Collecting Reaper is too long. Don't know what to do it. If you watch my podcast, maybe Luscious Slut will become the new one, but we
So
shall
I changed
see.
you in my phone to the Luscious Slut, and now every time
No
my wife
way.
sees it, she's like, "What the heck?"
It's happening.
Yeah,
Who's that? It's just Tyler.
it's just don't worry, babe. Yeah, and if you guys haven't checked out their podcast yet, make sure to check out Generations Behind. It's now streamable just about everywhere, right?
Yeah, but most places he has it. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, something else. I know it's out there.
It's on YouTube.
The main ones. I know it's on the main ones. And YouTube, of course.
Yeah, and then yeah, so make sure to watch his channel and follow him wherever. And then before long, when you put Littlefoot down, take him to the Great Valley, and you get your new computer, we'll have even more videos popping out, right?
Hey, starting next month.
The
Month.
time is coming. So 2025 will be the year of Game Collecting Reaper.
Tyler, I was gonna bring this up anyway, but I think you should get the Land Before Time subset. There's at least 2 on GBA. One of them's kind of uncommon. I think you should do it.
It's time.
Yeah, that could be my next YouTube video.
Yep, that and ET.
Oh, I got to go for ET too.
What is Tyler known for? Well, he's the luscious slut that loves collecting Land Before Time and ET stuff.
People be like, all right, don't know about this guy.
What do you mean? Oh man! All right, Christian, where can people find you at?
I'm at Bird Dog Gaming on all social media, including Threads, which I made today.
I
Why
saw.
the heck not?
Yeah, I like that Threads auto follows because like I didn't have to do anything. I was just like, oh, I'm following
Yeah.
Christian now.
I do want to shout one thing out. The Unlockable podcast just hit 5 years. We're doing a giveaway right now. So go rate the podcast and then send me a screenshot and you're in. You can win a copy of Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Yeah, I should have. That was a recent pickup. I got that too. And if you guys haven't played it yet, it's a lot of fun. Like it's easily the best Mario Party in, I don't know, since GameCube probably.
That's not hard to compete.
Yeah, like
Okay, I thought you were just gonna say recent. I was gonna say that's not
no,
hard to
it's
compete.
the best in a long time. It's fun. But yeah, check out the Unlockable podcast if you haven't. It's a great podcast. Him and his co-host Hannah do a great job. I have the newest episode downloaded so I can listen to it on the plane tomorrow. I saved it just so that I had something to listen to. I'd already listened to your guys' last episode, so I do not have that, unfortunately. But no, I definitely appreciate you guys coming on, though. It was fun. We'll do it again in the future. If you guys ever have a subject you think would be fun to talk about on here, just let me know. I'm always happy to not have to come up with ideas on my own. So, anything else before we close off?
Yeah, thank you. No, good.
I would love to be back anytime you want to have me, man. I always enjoy talking to you. And Tyler was a nice plus, too.
Yeah. Ditto. No, you guys are a lot of fun. I've loved the opportunity to get to know you guys and have you on here. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
We're all so thankful here. Thanksgiving is past, but yet here we are. But yeah, so and for anybody who hasn't already, you can follow me at X Button Gaming basically on any social media. On YouTube, I am trying to put out more content, but I've once again slowed down because I'm not good at being regular on anything where it comes to posting. But I'm trying to keep the content flowing there. Yeah, but I appreciate everybody listening. I probably have one more episode this year, and then 2025, I got a lot of episodes planned out already, so I just need to work on scheduling them. But yeah, thanks again, guys. Thank you everybody for listening, and appreciate everyone. And remember to always press X to continue.